Oh, comic fam. Oh, it's great to see you today. I hope your Sunday is going swell, and let me know how your Sunday is going in the chat. Let me know how your Sunday is going. Did you spend it with your family? Are you reading comic books? What is going on? Oh, it feels good to be alive today, 2018, December 9th, through the power of the internet. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is the Sunday show where I take some time to chat with my peeps in the comic community. We do a lot of content every week, and we only get so much time, so much opportunity to sit down and chat one-on-one. And this is my opportunity to do that with you. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day, your your Sunday. This is your day off. Hopefully you're resting. Hopefully you're having a good one. And I want to know how it's going in the comment section in the chat. I'm going to say hi to my peeps who have arrived, who have joined me on this fantastic Sunday. We have Chad Farr joining us before I even went live. So thank you so much, Chad, for joining me. Daniel Arzola, Comic G-Man, Comic Head 84, Big Will has arrived. Thank you so much for joining me, peeps. I do appreciate you. Comic Head 84, who is packing up some books right now to go off to the CGC as we speak. Exciting news. Exciting news. I'm hope to hear more about what you're sending off in the chat. We also have the BPRD rocking the Hellboy icon. I really dig that. And then we have Comic Head 84. Thank you so much. Big Will. Oh, so many peeps in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is a Q&A session. If you have a question for me, this is a great time to put it in the in the chat. I myself, Comic Tom, has already sent off to the question to the Comic Fam on Instagram, asking them to ask me questions so I can start this podcast off with some already, ready to go. And if you follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Comic Tom 101. If you don't, you would be able to chat with me there. I do a lot of I get a lot of most of my DMs are through there. If I don't comment on a YouTube video in particular, it's because I'm off commenting and interacting with the community over on Instagram. And holy smokes, we have a bunch of peeps who have asked me questions. So I'm going to start it off with some peeps over on Instagram. But if you have any questions, the viewers, the peeps on the chat, please let me know. Any cues, put them in the chat. And I do appreciate to the 71 people who are joining me this Sunday afternoon. It feels good to be here. Please hit that like button for me if you're currently joining, because that helps get this video out there. So let's dive into it. Let's see here. We have Anthony in Comics who says, think you'll hit 10K subscribers by the end of the year? Ooh, that's interesting. That's a fun question to start us out with. All right, let's take a look at what our numbers are right now. Currently, ooh, I feel like I kind of popped there. Push this back a little bit. Currently, we're sitting at 7635. So, I mean, that's a pretty big stretch. I don't think we're going to hit 10K by the end of the year. Probably maybe 8 if we're hustling. We do have a lot of cool videos coming out. Yesterday, Ryan and I sat down and pumped out. I'm turning the gain down a little bit. We pumped out another really fun video about Silver Surfer, and it's a minor key book that you can find in the dollar bin, and that was posted yesterday, doing quite well. We have increased our giveaways easily by triple as of this last couple weeks. That's right, we're doing some of our videos, we're doing 2 to 3 giveaways in just that one video. I have officially had to open up a whole Google Sheets, like a new document where I can manage who wins what, because I'm relying on everyone contacting me and giving me their address so I can get their giveaways out. But I sat down for like 2 hours yesterday going through like the 15 giveaways. We're just sending out stuff left and right. We have the Comic Fam donating left and right. So I imagine this channel doing even more giveaways. Like, I like the idea of being like the hub of where comics are being sent out, like more than any other channel. I want to be sending out more giveaways than any channel on YouTube. And I think this is how we're going to do it. We're just going to keep on adding them to the videos. 2 giveaways here. We have some videos this week where we have 3 giveaways going out. Cause I'm like, screw it. It costs like $5 to ship out 1 to 2 comics. So let's just do it. We're monetized. You're giving us views when you click on the ads. So if we have any money coming in, that right there is where it's going to go. It's going to go right back out to the community. Let's just do more giveaways. Let's get more books for you and make it so that every video, if you're going to listen to us talk about Silver Surfer, we have a Silver Surfer book to send out to you, hopefully more than one. And that's not even counting the mystery mail call and all the giveaways we're doing for that community. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Thank you, Anthony and Comics, for the wishful thinking, bringing up our 10K milestone. Like, that's coming, guys. That's crazy to think about. Like, I remember that telling the team, like, I'm stoked about just like potentially hitting 1,000 this year. And we were just like, every day we'd get, oh, we got 5 today, we got 6 today. And like the whole team was so stoked about that. And it feels great. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm not even looking. I don't want to look at the subscriber count anymore, because I am just here to make content for you. And every once in a while, I'll get a comment like that. And I'm like, holy smokes, 10K is like around the corner, huh? Dang. Okay. Well, I guess that's what we're doing, right? And then after 10K, what? It says 20,000. I think that's the next big one. So anyways, I appreciate every single person, all 100 people currently joining me on this feed this Sunday afternoon, spending your time with me to chat about comics, chat about our channel. Thank you so much for joining me. This is our video we do, my video I do every week with you guys. And please hit that like button if you're just landing on this video right now. It helps get this video out there into the ether. And we have another question here, and the next one's going to come from the chat. So I want to see some questions over here, if you would be so kind, Comic Fam. We have I Got Issues 2319. He's a homie. He says, favorite book you added to your PC in 2018. Okay, I cheated. I actually put one over here. All right, let me find it for you. Okay. Okay, Truth, I'm going to take you down here. I'm looking through a short box here, and you can come with me. I actually have a handful of stuff that I've added to my PC this year, and I'm going to show you one of the ones that I'm super stoked about. Okay, boom. This right here is a little ash can. I started collecting Hellboy ash cans because, you know what? That's just the kind of collector I am. Think I'm gonna pull out some Silver Age or some dope Golden Age? This right here is, I'm so stoked about this ash can. For one, I paid $0.25 for it. That's very cool. But this right here is super low print. It's a ash can of one of my all-time favorite Hellboy stories, The Corpse, which happens to be one of Mignola's favorite stories, coincidentally. And you know what? It's really cool. I was able to take this to Mignola earlier this year at Rose City. I was there with, I guess, like what's cool about this book, aside from me buying it from a really cool seller, it felt really good to find it for cheap because, there's not a whole lot of people looking for this. And I'm sure I can find one online for like 30, $40. But what's dope about this is that this was one of like 15 ash cans I picked up in the collection. So this one represents like a ton of ash cans that I got. That is Hellboy, that I barely paid anything for. And I was able to get all of them signed for the personal collection. I'm a completist when it comes to Hellboy. I am regularly losing and gaining new Hellboy items and memorabilia. I've owned so many, but I'm looking for the scarce stuff, and it's only growing. And this may help me get towards the grails that I have in the future. But anyways, I also have another. I have another to share. This is another one to share. And this actually counts as a spec book. So I'm going to try to bring some more speculation comics here. So onto these feeds here, because I know a lot of you, I get those questions a lot, and I typically don't answer them because I don't really have a whole lot of time to speculate on books that may go up in a week. So another book that I have been speculating on is a lot of Hellboy. As you know, I have a crap ton of Hellboy comics, which is great for me right now because Hellboy is coming back. Ooh, not that he ever left the building or anything, but I have been specking on this book right here. It's fantastic. It's a variant. It's the Hellboy, the Fury 3 variant. And if you notice, some of those price tags on them are rather cheap. It's often missed. It's a fun book. Hellboy dies in this issue, and there are a few Fury variants that are out there. This one in particular, I'm not even sure what the print count was, but it is rather low print, and you can find these online near mint around 30 to $40, but it's an often dollar bin book if you are hunting for it. It doesn't look like your traditional Hellboy cover. Sure as hell doesn't look like a traditional Hellboy cover that came out as recently as it did. I still consider this run recent, which is kind of crazy that it's not. This is actually considered an old run. There's a whole nother run after this. But anyways, it's a great book. I've been specking a lot of Hellboy books. I had a bunch of the Lobster Johnsons. I also have, heck, I can't even tell you how many freaking runs of Seed of Destruction, Wake the Devil I've gone through over this last few years. Just buying, selling, getting more, getting graded ones, selling those graded ones, and I just keep it going. I just keep it going. And I gotta say, Hellboy is a good bet. I think that this next movie that's coming out, we have some strong characters that are going to be in there, and it's going to be serious, and that's what we need. We need some really good comic book stories that are serious. Ooh, and we got well, it's green, which means what? Oh, it means that we got a super chat. It's Joshua Sanders kicking off our super chat today, who says, just wanted to send some love to you and the family, my brother. Sorry, I go to forward, brother. Joshua Sanders, dude, you don't have to do anything like that. Thank you so much. You just being here is incredibly kind. Giving me any of your time is amazing. Thank you so much for your super chat. We are putting that towards the set. We are putting that towards better internet. Oh my gosh, how do I sound? It's crazy, guys. I can't tell you. I was on the phone with Comcast for like, each time I talked to him, it was about 45 minutes. And I talked to him 5 times in the last week and a half because my internet has been terrible. The internet's been so terrible. It was so like throttled and I couldn't do anything. We got all the software. Like, guys, we have a show that I'm putting together for you. And I am so stoked about it. We're going to have transitions. We're going to be able to bring you on the screen. We've been promising that since the beginning of this whole like live show that we started pumping out. And we are like this close to actually having this stuff done. So because of your donations, thank you so much, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Joshua Sanders, for your donation, for making stuff like this happen. I appreciate you. You know what? It's 2:41. It is not too early to, it's Sunday, guys. This is my day to get ready for the week. And you're joining me on my first beer today. So this goes out to the comic fam, Joshua Sanders. Thank you so much. Oh, I like it. Let's keep it going. With Miles Morales' Spider-Man movie, do you think the price will jump for Spider-Gwen books? This is from Dustin Pike. That's a great question. Absolutely. I think that Spider-Man right now, we think right now that this stuff is going to spike. And I've heard it in the community over this last few weeks. And really over this last couple months, really, I mean, as we're seeing this comic book community grow as aggressively as it is on YouTube and Instagram, a lot of conversations about speculating in comic books and whether or not these are going to be smart investments. If we should be investing, what does that even mean? Does it mean that we're heading towards something bad? Is this good? Is this bad for the market? Is this bad for the art? What is going to happen? And when it comes down to it, it's interesting to me because I have kind of a different perspective on everything here because I'm thinking of this long term. Okay. Like, let's buckle up here. Let's think long term here. We have kids right now that are about to ask their parents for spectacular Spider-Ham pajamas. Okay. I was at Target yesterday and there's spectacular Spider-Ham like figurines. You have Spider-Gwen like next to the TMNT, next to the Barbie stuff, like these characters that are now being introduced. I think right now we're thinking of it like this. You and I on YouTube, John Comics with Kids doing a review is a really good example. Like, the opinion isn't up to me. It's not up to you. It's not up to John. It's down to his kids. It's down to the generation that's going to be growing up with these characters. And what I find fascinating is that there's a lot of people in the community that thinks, oh, this isn't like a safe bet. This is maybe it's like almost foolish to look at modern comic books as a collector's item as you would maybe an older book. Like, why waste your money on variants? Why waste your money on these types of things? Well, here's the thing. Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy, Hulk 181, these grails that are important to you and I on this feed, that's not is really what's important. What's important is in 20 years when these kids that are right now 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 growing up on these particular characters, in 20 years, what is the view going to be? Is that Hulk 181 going to be as important to your son or your daughter or whoever, your niece, your nephew, the generation that is coming, as Wolverine was to you and I? I grew up with Marvel versus Capcom. Okay. That game like made Wolverine what he was to me. I didn't care for him in the show. I didn't care for him in the comics. But when I saw him on screen in Marvel versus Capcom as this brutish character in brown, and he's just like this, he's like this little ravenous creature. I'm like, oh, that's my Wolverine. Like that right there. That's awesome. Like all these renditions of Wolverine, that's the one that is my Wolverine. So when he came out in X-Men, for example, and we see like Hugh Jackman and all these different like takes on the character, I'm like, no, that's not my Wolverine. Like my Wolverine is legit, like has been modeled after a video game that came out in the 90s. And you know what? Kids in the future, they're not going to have stuff like that. They're not going to have those moments that we had growing up, our Saturday morning cartoons. What they do have is what's on Netflix right now. What they do have is what's hitting the screens right now. And yeah, absolutely. We're going to see spikes in Spider-Gwen. We're going to see spikes in Silk. Get ready for Spider-Woman coming. Spider-Girl, like Aranya, that's coming too. And you know what? I don't know in 15 years if the younger generation is going to say, yeah, I really like Ben Reilly versus I really like Spider-Man Noir, which is kind of crazy to think because for me, I would bet on Ben Reilly all day long. I think Ben Reilly is an awesome Spider-Man. But you know what? In 20 years, there's a movie coming out right now, like this month, and Spider-Man Noir may be the new favorite of like this whole generation of people who that when they start collecting comics in a decade, or maybe they're going to do it sooner. Who knows? I mean, I started when I was like 17, 18, really aggressively buying comics. I don't know. I think that there is a really, really good opportunity for long-term success for these characters. So as far as investment opportunity goes, you know, I think it's there. I truly think it's there. These numbers are super low. And I think yes. I think the answer is yes. I think that we have to think a little bit larger scale for these characters. Will their price drop in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? That's potential too. You got to look at this like a, like a stock market, but like the stock market rather. But as far as what's going to land with the public, that's what matters. That's what determines the market's true value here of these comics. It's how the market interprets them, how the market takes them on, and what the long-term success is going to be based off of a generation of kids growing up on it and going to the movies right now to go see these films. And I think that is the long-term potential of these characters. And there's an absolute chance that these books that we're right now kind of going, yeah, they're going up 20, 50, $100. Woo, is this going to die down? Yeah, it may die down right now, but long term, I think that there's potential. Good stuff here. Good stuff. Keep the questions coming. I'm going to keep it going here. We have who is this? We have Comic Head. Comic Head and the green lights. That's perfect. Just want to make sure the comic family is aware of Hoopla, the free digital comic reader paid by your local library. Huge selection with new comic book day releases. That's very cool. Comic Head 84. Dropping some knowledge for the comic fam. I like that it's paid by your local library. So it's like a digital comic reader that is hooked up through your city. I like that. Wow. Talk about, pulling together to like offer comic love. All right, very cool. And he's super chatting it to get that info out there. I'm interested to hear about anyone else who's gone through this comic selection that's apparently free. I lived at the library pretty much when I was younger, so that's really cool to see that. I read House of M at the library. I remember reading that, picking that off the shelf. Heck yeah. Let's keep it going, guys. This is from Boatwright 2628. Do you remember what your first comic was? Mine was one I bought as a kid, was Uncanny 300. Boatwright 2628. That's an interesting question. Let's see here. I have a unique, I would say unique. Yeah, I would say unique because it's different. A different introduction to comics because my dad and because he was working at a comic book store. I don't ever remember not having comic books or action figures. I grew up with a Captain Picard cutout, like life-size cutout in the kitchen that would scare me. I like wake up and I'd be like, oh, somebody in the kitchen. No, it's just Captain Kirk. Okay. Captain Picard. Okay, we have both. So, as far as comics go, I have like key moments that I remember. So one was reading Bone. That was like one of the earliest series that I can remember my dad being like, oh, you're going to actually like this, read this. Like the pictures, like the art. I had trouble reading, so it was really nice to be introduced to reading through something that was like visually appealing. I also remember being really into Mortal Kombat, so I also remember picking off picking up the Goro #1, and I actually had the silver cover, which I found out now is a variant that's worth like $50. So I went to go pick that up. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get that comic book again, and I pulled it up. I'm like, I'm not paying $50 for this damn comic book. What the heck? Excuse me. So those were like some of the early pickups, and then you know, I had a I went through I never really collected until I was older because this stuff was always around. I didn't look at it as like collector's items like I do now, because I was around it. I was moving it around. My dad sold it to pay the bills. I loved it. I read it. When I was bored at conventions, I'd read it. But I remember there was a little bit of a break that I took when I started working pretty consistently and I started dating, like when I was like 16, 17. And there was a gap between there and it was like maybe 21 where I just stopped buying comics altogether. And then I thought, I want a shelf. Like there's some issues that I want. And I remember the thing that got me back into it was finding out that they were going to kill someone in the new Fantastic Four run. They killed Johnny off. And it was that black bag Fantastic Four that got me really motivated to go to the comic book store again. And I'm like, I like the idea that it's in a black bag. I think it's cool looking. It's got 3 on it. I want to know who's going to die. I don't want to be like, I want to be surprised. So I went to the store with the thought of this. I want to get 3 copies. I want a sealed copy for myself. I want a second sealed copy that I can like not even like I wanted 3 copies, 2 for keeping and 1 to open and read. And I only got the third copy because I'm like, I just want to have 2 of them. And I remember that weird feeling of I never thought that way with comics until that moment because just wasn't around it. But then I kind of got a flashback of, ooh, I like that. I like that idea of having something of that means something like that. And I did that. And then I went on eBay and I bought a Walking Dead #1. And that was actually like the first big purchase that got me back into collecting. That was, I would say, the moment where I was like, okay, I got the bug. I bought the Fantastic Four issue and I'm like, this is cool, but I want to actually buy a comic book. Like I want to spend like $300 on comic book and I want it to be something freaking cool. So I gave myself a limit and I'm like, it's gonna be $300. I went on eBay. I saved it in my search looking for a Walking Dead #1. And I'm like, I don't even care if it's signed. I don't care. Or rather, I don't care if it's graded. I don't care if it's even authenticated. I just want I want a Walking Dead #1. And I remember watching this book go for $220. And it was a gorgeous copy of #1, signed by Kirkman, but it wasn't authenticated. I got it for like 260, maybe it was 250, right around there. And I just remember like showing that to my friends and showing that to Russ and being super stoked about it. And then like finding out that I can get it graded. Because I didn't really know about grading. And this is over a decade ago now, almost a decade ago. I knew what grading was, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of it. So like going through the whole process, finding out like, oh, you have to authenticate it beforehand, and like that's like the better way to do it. And oh wow, I came back a 9.6. What could have made it a 9.8? Could I have pressed it? What's pressing? Like, let's really get into this. And it started that bug. So like there's a handful of comics. I know it's a really long answer to that. And I can keep going too. Comics that influenced my collecting all the way up to today. But you know what? When it really came down to it, I would credit Bone. I would credit Fantastic Four, Death of Johnny Storm, the Black Bag Sealed, and then I would also credit Walking Dead #1. So anyways, that's my answer. I really do appreciate that question. It's a good question. I think about that kind of stuff sometimes. Kind of trippy to think about how much time has passed. Ooh, isn't it weird to think? And we're only here on this little planet for so long. It's pretty cool though. I'm enjoying it. It's like a spaceship. Like we're on Spaceship Earth. You're joining me on this Sunday. Let's dive into some more questions. Any potential characters? This is from Chad90 MF Comics. He's another homie. He's following me at Comic Tom 101 on Instagram. Thank you so much. He says, any potential characters you see on the rise in the future? I waited too long, but signed up for the mystery mail call. Ooh, Chad90 MF Comics reserving a spot for December. That plug wasn't even planned, but you can hit the description for the link to sign up and reserve your December box. We have some awesome comics going out. We have some gold going out. Yeah, we have we have members who are donating gold. We also have the guru here, so we're, he's hooking it up too. We have some crazy good comics going out. Shout out to the 124 people joining me today on this Sunday. We're doing a Q&A. I'm chatting with the comic book fam, answering some questions, answering your questions in the chat over on Instagram, here on the mic live with you. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Like this video, helps get this video out there and be seen by other members of the comic book community. It goes a long way. I do appreciate that. As far as characters, all right, let me think about that for 2 seconds. Absolutely. I think that the next year to 2 years is going to be, um, it's gonna be very interesting. I think we're going to have a very diverse set of characters that are going to land in the community. We have talk of Blue Beetle. We have talk of Jessica Cruz. We have talk of Araña. I mean, like, the list is just expanding. Master Kung Fu, Shang-Chi, of characters that are going to be able to lead franchises for in a medium that has just begun to pump out like consistent movies. I mean, like, really, this has only been over the last decade where we're seeing these type of movies coming out there. And when they're swinging at, I mean, if you were to combine both Marvel and DC and just like the overall movie franchises, they're swinging pretty good. It's a solid 70%. I don't know. I'm pulling that number out of my ass. I don't know what the number is, but as far as like success to failure, like, if Batman v Superman wasn't a success, but Venom was, I mean, they're swinging pretty good. And we're at a time now where they can start taking some risks. And what does risks mean? It means that they're willing to try superhero movies that aren't Batman. And they're willing to try superhero movies that aren't Spider-Man. But they're still going to do those all the time because it's going to help support the rest of the franchises. And I think right now we have an opportunity to bring in characters that are huge fan favorites. Like, I can't tell you um, how many supporters of the podcast, because my dad and I have like gone on the mic and mentioned that we have family in Puerto Rico and that we're Puerto Rican. And he's like, he speaks Spanish sometimes here on the podcast, and we'll make sure that, that makes the cut. Cause I mean, it's important to us. We have family, and there is like I get tagged all the time of like all of my fellow Hispanic peeps who are like fanboying, fangirling out about Jessica Cruz and Aranya and all these characters that are like, yes, like, absolutely, like, this is so cool. And they're hitting the screen now, and they with potential of being done really right. Blue Beetle, like, can you imagine that? Like a Blue Beetle movie? Holy crap. Like, we have some potential for some just awesome characters to hit the screen. And yeah, I think that there is a lot of speculation that is like safe speculation right now. It just, and really all you have to do is go on Instagram and just do searches for like what people are buying, and I think it shows in that way. We're not picking the books that hit the top 10 list. CBSI is loosely picking the books because they're picking the books that make these hot lists every week based off what the community is deciding. And every week we have comics on the list that are just characters that have come out in the last 10 years, that haven't seen like as like the kind of fandom that other superhero movies have gotten. But you know what? Once they hit, they're going to land hard, and we're already seeing it happen. Miles Morales is going to be the lead in this movie coming up that people are freaking out about. And you know what? I remember back before Homecoming was coming out, the community was demanding a Miles Morales movie. Like, people were saying, don't do another Peter Parker. Like, save it. Don't even do it for Infinity. Just give us Miles Morales. Like, that's what was the conversation was happening. And this was years ago. So like, this is long overdue. We have characters like Miles Morales and superheroes that have been they've been fan favorites. I say that all the time. I got to come up with a new way to put it, but that's just what it is. People who are collecting these issues, and they're a diehard. They're getting the miniseries. They're anticipating what's to come, and I think it's these characters have just been underutilized for quite a long time, and with the help of some actual like funding from these large companies, I think that it actually has some opportunity to gain ground. And I take it back to what I said in the beginning. It's not up to you and I. It's not up to what we know as these characters right now. It's about the kids. It's about what they're watching. You know what? A lot of people don't care for some of the Ironheart. I know, like, Russ read Ironheart, he mentioned that he liked it, and in the comments of that video, a lot of people were like, "Oh, that we don't like Ironheart." Like, I didn't like Ironheart. Like, that was, like, a lot of people mentioned, yeah, didn't care for it. People have their reasons, and I'm not gonna get into different reasons for not liking this particular character, but here's the reality of it. It doesn't matter what we think. It's like it's a depiction of a character that is landing for a particular demographic, and what is happening is that kids are getting into it, and that's the demographic that I'm talking about. You go online and you're seeing so many kids starting to cosplay and like freak out about these characters that are now like hits in comics, buying the comics, and that's what matters is like, just growing the fandom. And then once the fandom grows to an extent that's large enough, well, what happens? We have twists, we have turns, we have new ideas, conceptions, just everything, because there's money to do it with. And then you get Miles Morales hitting the freaking screen this year. Who's excited for that? I'm super stoked. Let's jump back into it. We have over 100 people joining me on this Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me today. Will Batman Who Laughs be worth anything? Says TJL_86. Ooh, that's a question for me over on Instagram. That's a great question. I like that question. Give me a second to drink my Rainier here for a second. Mm. Oh, wow. It tastes terrible. It's great. Okay. Um, I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. Oh, and just Pele. Yeah, Ironheart sales were really bad for number one. I haven't seen those numbers. I heard that it didn't do quite as well. Um, oh yeah, and I'm not arguing. Oh yeah, and you know what? I want to clarify too. Oh my gosh, sorry guys, my headphones are just going out. You guys ever have that happen? Boom. I don't know what it is. They just go out one 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 one. Yeah, maybe Ironheart sucked as a comic. Sure, that's fine. The point isn't that the comic book did well or not. The point is that there is a reason why it even made it to print in the first place, is because their numbers are showing that there is a fan base for it. Whether or not it's going to do well, that's entirely up to the community, and whether it does well for the collectors community, that's an entirely different thing. What we're talking about is the movies. We're not talking about the collectors here. And when it comes down to it, whether or not Riri Williams does well isn't up to the collectors, and it's not up to the comic book community or even stores. It's up to the kids who are going to end up seeing it in a cartoon, or Netflix, um, or Spider-Verse. Who knows? But that is just Pale. You're a homie, dude. You always have the good info. I like how many peeps we have in the community who are like monitoring sales and stuff. Like, I feel like I'm just always a shout out away from like, oh, this is the print run of this comic book, and this is its sales to the freaking second. It's amazing. I love it. All right, let's kick it back. We have Batman Who Laughs. Will it be worth anything? You know what? It was 110,000 was the print count of number one, and it hit the mainstream media. So we should just pretend like it was made. I would say, I don't know. What is mainstream media? Safe to say 10 times? I would say 10 times. Okay, let's just say 10 times. I may be exaggerating a little bit, but I don't. I don't think I'm exaggerating. I think that if we had um, a print run of Batman Who Laughs at 110,000, because it hit mainstream media, it was undervalued by 10 times. What I mean by that is we need to look at that as if it was a print run of 12 to 15,000. And boom. What do you get if you have a print run of like under 20,000 and a market that all thinks the book is worth money, and it's actually wanted because so now it is worth money. The book ends up being worth around 60 to 100 bucks. What's it worth right now? 60 to 100 bucks. It makes sense, right? So the way I look at it is mainstream media. I know those are some loose numbers. You can't really go off of. Don't price every comic book like that. But it's the when it breaks to the mainstream media, you don't know what happens. Like, there's just that right there is a variable. This is an outlier. DC can only hope things like that happens. Will it happen again? Probably not. And I think for that reason, there's a chance that this book may not do as well, as far as the second and the third book that go out. Personally, I think I'm picking up 10 copies. I think Russ is getting like, I don't know. I don't want to throw numbers out there that I don't know for him. I'm personally getting 10, and no, I'm getting 12 because I'm picking up two because I'm assuming we're going to be sending out a couple to the community. So I always buy a couple more just in case. But Will it be worth money in the long run? 110,000 isn't very much. I think that for a larger comic book as well, a lot of these are getting graded, but a lot of them aren't getting graded. I mean, 110,000 copies is a lot of copies, and a lot of them aren't bagged and boarded, and they're gonna be harmed. They're gonna be read. A lot of these are read. A lot of these were legit shown to people, like, "Hey, look at this." Open it up and VF, VF, VF. So I think that high grade copies are going to be a collector's item. I see it dipping to maybe the $40 to $50 range. Heck, maybe down the road it may be more like Vengeance of Bane, that just every once in a while this $20 to $30 book creeps up, and then they're like, whoa, it's 50 to 60, and then all of a sudden it dies back down. Like it may be like one of those books, but you know what? It broke media, and when it breaks media, that's just, you never know. You never know with it, and that's why I think that these DC Black labels are so exciting. Why it's such an exciting time to be in the market right now, because we have stuff like this that's happening. It's interesting that stuff like this is still happening in comic books for such a small medium, for one that is like notoriously had its ebbs and flows, whether it be collecting, whether it be like success, actually, like even people buying and selling. Um, to this day, like every year, there's almost always something that happens where you go on you go on Facebook and you see articles from places that you don't follow, but because they're talking about something relevant to you, you're looking at, oh, this is what this insert random news source has to say about. I didn't really care what they had to say, but it's interesting that they're telling me. What? And I feel like that happens at least a couple times a year, and it's those moments we got to keep an eye out for, because Batman Damned is one of those moments, mind you. And I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. I'm a little disappointed with what happened with Batman Damned, and I'm not disappointed to anyone besides. I'm gonna say it. I'm disappointed in the dealers. I'm disappointed in the dealers. Why am I disappointed in the dealers? Is because Batman Damned, we all know when this came out. All right. This was this came out and we all got the book like the same time. The dealers found out at the comic shops the day before. So and the news got that same information around that time as well. So we were all freaking out on that Tuesday night about what was going on in Batman Damned and how crazy it is and what's going to happen. San Diego Comic-Con, there was a Batman Damned like early release. They released San Diego Comic-Con unedited Batman Damned, and it was a I don't even know if they called it a prototype issue, because it was legit. It's the same thing. It's the same magazine, but they printed it early for the San Diego Comic-Con dealers and they handed it out. And I've seen at least 7 different dealers with this on their wall. It says from San Diego Comic-Con. It's priced 10 times more than Batman Damned is. If I recall correctly, and please, I haven't seen one since I went to New York, but if someone knows specifics on this or anything about this particular comic book, let me know. But for months, this comic book was out there. For months, dealers owned this comic book, and for months, it went completely unnoticed until the day of release. And I am just like, I'm astounded. I was like, how? How did not one of those issues get cracked open to see that? How, like, no one was curious? Like, is DC Black Label, it's an early release that came out months in advance? Like, no one saw that? Like, how did that not make press? How did that not happen? And when it really comes down to it, it's because this is a market it's just underdocumented. When it really comes down to it, the community is super, super strong, super strong, and everybody coming together, posting stuff, making sure that this information gets out there. It helps. It helps get the information out there, and it puts us all ahead of the curve. And the next thing you know, this stuff hasn't happened. Like, can you imagine what it would have been like if a member of the community got that copy of Batman Damned because they're a member of the IG comic fam, the YouTube comic fam, and they went on the mic that night and shared that image months before the press got it? Like, oh yeah, and Just Pele said here, he just didn't think it was a big deal. Oh, I completely agree. I don't think it was a big deal either. What I think is interesting is that no one said anything. There was no like nothing happened. Um, and that's a good point. Like I think, there's part of it's like, oh, it just kind of went under the radar for a lot of people that got this comic book. But I don't know. I don't think that is the same thing to be said with all of the other dealers, because when this landed, every comic book shop I went to for like 2 weeks, it was filled with nothing of comic book dealers walking up to people going, look at this. This is crazy. Look at the artwork. Look at this book, DC, blah, 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 blah. And this is like multiple dealers. Like I'm in the circle, guys. Like I'm here. I go to a freaking comic book shop and there's people who watch our show now. Like not even our shop. Like I'll go to a shop in freaking downtown Seattle I've never been to, and I see it. Like I'm there. I'm part of the community, and it's like the shop owners were acting like they'd never seen it before because they didn't even open the comic. So it's like not even like it, flew under the radar for some. It was like this wasn't even talked about. So, anyways, my point is like I agree that we're kind of like, we can't expect everybody to know everything and to like take this information. I just find it super fascinating that this information went out to the community and then nothing came of it. It took Russ being on like keep this in mind. We have CBSI and Key Collector who are hustling every single day to keep us up to date with stuff. It's like there's so much that's happening and this market is still so small that like we're relying on only a handful of avenues to get this information, to get out to the community, that it's like when stuff just really gets under the radar and then all of a sudden Russ is on the mic on a Friday breaking news to the country, and we're watching comic book sales go from $3 to $400 because just like anybody could have done it. Anybody could have just gone on Instagram and done the one post. Hey, look at what Eric Powell said in this YouTube video that went up yesterday. That's interesting. Boom. And I'm just saying, I am just excited. I feel fortunate to be part of this community, and really when it comes down to it, it's exciting that stuff like this is still happening with the powers of the internet, with companies like that are quite large. I think of like companies like comicbook.com and Bleeding Cool. I think of comic book channels that have been active and growing and been quite large, that are on YouTube, that I'm fans of. But like when it comes down to it, the comic book fam here, the collector's market is emerging now. Like for the first time ever, it's really coming together on YouTube, and it's been a slow but growing thing. And what we're seeing is more and more people, as they have access to this community, they're getting into the comic book collecting and the culture, and that and the just the diverse aspect of this culture, which is fantastic. And I'm just super excited to see the kind of involvement as just an individual. And I'm not even talking about myself here. I'm talking about everybody here, everyone on this feed that, as a community that has to affect the market, to share our feelings and thoughts about everything. And it's just super exciting. Especially when you see like this past Friday with like that whole Eric Powell thing. Shout out Russ Bright. That was freaking awesome. He killed it. If you guys didn't see that, he mentioned about the hidden variant for the new Grumble comic that came out. And within 2 days, we had CBSI and Nick over at Key Collector reporting on everything. And these books are going for like $300 to $400 now. And there wasn't one person for days. This video was out for days that talked about it. And it's because like we have so many awesome people in the community who are like, they got tabs on everything. It's like, how do you keep track? And it's like there are like legit professions sprouting up to keep track of this kind of stuff for the comic book fam. And it's just humbling to be part of it. Let's see here. I want to keep it rolling, guys. We got, oh my goodness. What do we got going on here? We have so much happening. It's 3:13. Oh my gosh, we've been going for 43 minutes. What's happening? These Sunday conversations go so quick. Shout out to the 122 peeps that are currently live with me on this Sunday. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. And thank you so much to the 68 people who have already hit that like button. Please hit that like button for me because that helps grow the channel. It helps get this video seen. And and what do we have here? We have a green light, which means that we have Darren Gomez. Oh, what? How do you feel about connecting comic covers? Heck yeah. Thank you so much for the super chat, Darren. That is very kind of you. I'm going to put that right towards the internet that I am now paying for. It has tripled in the last 2 weeks because I am determined to giving you crystal clear. Oh, excuse me, burping into the mic. Crystal clear imagery on your screen. And thank you so much, Darwin. Darwin, I think I said your name was Darren. Darwin. Darwin, I am a huge fan of connecting comic covers. I think it's great. When Walking Dead 115 came out, I thought that was awesome. That was a really good. They actually had a bunch of connecting covers that I really enjoyed. But one of my favorites is the Siege. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's a Siege connecting cover that has an awesome Loki shot in the middle of it. I can't remember if it's in the middle of it, but there's a great Loki cover that's part of that connecting cover a lot. One of you knows what I'm talking about, and it's for you. And then there was another really, really cool connecting cover lot that I was excited about, and that was which one was I thinking of? Oh, you know what? It wasn't connecting. I was thinking of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the retailer incentives, but they weren't connecting, so that doesn't count. So yeah, I'm gonna limit it to those. I'm a fan of connecting covers. I'm a fan of really anything. Like I honestly, what I enjoy is good comics and great covers, but specifically covers that are of characters that I enjoy, ones that I collect, and done by artists that I really like. So if it's connecting, great. If it's hologram, even that's cool too. If it's a freaking pop up, I don't care. Like whatever, I'm gonna end up wanting it. If it's an ash can, I'm gonna want it. Like if it's of Migniola, if it's Hellboy, I have no idea. I'm stoked about it. Let's make it happen. All right, let's see what we got here. We got Frost Nixon says, sorry, the CIA is blocking Comic Tom 101 from alerting me. Someone call the president. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Let's see here. Spitfire Dubstep 13 says, is it worth buying Swamp Thing keys because of the new series next year? See, like that's a good question. Is it worth buying? I guess that's the first thing I gotta ask. I don't know what that means. Is it worth buying because you want to flip it? Like you want to buy it now so you can sell it in a year? Is it worth buying because you want to invest in some things and you're talking about getting some like high end stuff? Like you're gonna invest now, so like in 6 years, maybe 10 years, or hell, maybe in 20 years you sell it. Or when the market is just like peaked, you feel like you can just move it to get something else you want. Like, I don't know, I need more info there. But as far as it worth buying Swamp Thing keys right now, um, everybody's buying Swamp Thing keys. I sold Plastic Man yesterday. Plastic Man that I've been keeping on my eBay store for like 4 years. And it sold yesterday because of a potential Plastic Man movie announcement, which, by the way, hell yeah. Like, can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that'd be so dope. But anyways, that's further videos. We'll talk about Plastic Man another day because oh my god, Plastic Man, that'd be so cool. It all depends. It all depends what you're looking to do, what your current collection is, what your goals are, and what you're trying to do. First off, Swamp Thing is a great run regardless. And if you're dabbling in Swamp Thing, it means you're getting into Constantine. If you're getting into Constantine, you're probably getting into Justice League Dark. Getting into Justice League Dark, you're getting into Satana. Like Dead Man, anyone? Like, let's just break out the Kelly Jones Batman. Like, let's just do it all. Like, there's so much good stuff there. Is it worth buying? Yes. The answer is yes. Is it worth grading? I would slab a ton of that shit. But like, you know what? It all depends on what your goals are for collecting and what you want to do. As far as flipping, if you can get Swamp Thing stuff cheap, absolutely. I think right now is a great time to be scouting eBay pages, be looking for those people who are listing comic books undervalued. They're taking terrible pictures of them, but you can tell, it looks better than they think. And yeah, like stock up on Swamp Thing. I think Swamp Thing has a huge potential. But you know what else has potential? Man Thing. You know who else has potential? Pretty much the entire Justice League Dark run right now has potential. We have Disney with their new app, and they're going to be kicking off another Daredevil. I mean, we have so many opportunities with these characters that are already doing well. I think what it really comes down to, and this is something I'm just going to say flat with everybody for when it comes down to collecting. I hear a lot of like, what do you think about investing into blank? I'm sorry, but seldomly are you in a position where you get to choose what you are going to collect. Like, I'm like, you know what? I wanted to invest in a insert comic book there, but you know what? I was presented with these other comic books. And that's typically the story for collectors who are actually dropping good money on comics. It's not so much about I'm after this one comic book so that I can make money off of. It's more of I am after this handful of comic books that I could really, this genre, this era, this character, this team, this artist, this writer, whatever, and then you're hunting for multiple things, and then depending on what's available to you, that's what you're investing in. So Swamp Thing in general, Spitfire Dubstep, I think it's a really good thing to keep an eye out for. But what is Swamp Thing? Well, what is Swamp Thing? You have the whole Alan Moore run, so like add those issues to your set. Like you're not just looking for early Swamp Thing, you're looking for Bernie Wrights and like classic covers. Look for that Batman crossover in #7. Look for the first Constantine in 25 and 37, pick up the second appearance in 38. Like open up your collecting goggles, because otherwise you may just be looking for that near mint 9.8 of #1 that you're never going to find a good deal on because you should have bought that book 3 years ago. You know? That's my honest opinion of the situation. Let's keep it rolling because we got Bueller joined in the chat. That's cool. Bueller's here. He's a good guy. I want to chat one thing with the 120 peeps currently joining me on this Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me. First off, I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your questions and your comments. I like chatting with you. Shout out to the 120 people joining me on this Sunday afternoon. I am feeling great, guys. I am feeling great. It's early. I'm already drinking my first beer. Or is it my second? Who knows? And this is what's up. I finished watching Halloween 4 last night for the second time. I busted through Halloween 3 the other week. I rewatched the second one for the first time in a few years and watched the first one again. I watched a remake of that like 2 weeks ago in theaters, the one that Danny McBride's in, and I went and bought the entire collection recently from Best Buy. I got the last copy. I made them search the store for about 25 minutes because I drove out there for this collection. I wasn't about to not watch Halloween. And I have it currently on Blu-ray sitting on my mantle. I'm going to be putting that on while going through a short box of comics, grading, pricing, and taking pictures of them. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a great Sunday. And I hope you're having a great Sunday as well. That's what my Sunday is going to look like. I want to know what your Sunday looks like here in the chat section below. And I have something very important to tell you. The first thing is something I never bring up, but I think it's important. For one, in the description of my videos, you have an opportunity to help support the podcast in a number of different ways. And I want to go through them with you right now. I have an eBay page. Yes, I list comic books there that are graded, and I ship them in a box to you for a fair price. And there's an or best offer on pretty much everything I list, so that if you hit me up in a way that's like really kind, hey, Tom, I watch you on YouTube. Here's my offer. I'm probably going to accept it because you know what? The Comic Fam gets priority #1. And I appreciate everyone who takes this time to click the button and shop from our store that we're trying to grow. So that's really cool. The other thing is we have 6 more days for you to sign up for the mystery mail call. If you're not currently part of the comic book community mystery mail call service that I provide, I said that in a weird way, but we're going to roll with it. You have 6 more days to sign up to get your December box. December is going to be a great month. We have first appearance of X-23, second appearance of X-23, third appearance of X-23, multiple appearances of other major keys, minor keys, all the above, variants, modern keys. Graphic novel list is super huge, and I'm super excited to send all of these things out to the mystery mail call community that we do every single month. And it would be awesome if you joined. It helps support the podcast. It also gives us an excuse to send you something every month. The link is in the bio to do that. And then I have one last thing to let you know, because we are heading into the holiday season. A lot of people buying comic books online, and I want to make sure that I mention this because it's been a minute, and I want to make sure that it's very clear of what's going on. There is a link. If you buy comics on eBay, you can help support the podcast. That's it. If you buy comic books on eBay and you want to help support the Bags and Boards podcast, you can do those things simultaneously. And the only thing you need to do is you need to click the link below before you make your purchase. That's it. Anything you buy off of eBay within the next hour after you click that link, you can do this anytime. Any purchase you make, rather than eBay getting the full fee, we get half of it. That's it. We don't find out who did it. We don't find out what was purchased. We don't find out anything. All we get is a referral kickback. That's it. So instead of eBay getting your full fee, we get half. You help support the podcast, and the world keeps spinning. That's right. So Thank you so much to the peeps who are currently already doing that. It's very, very nice of you to just keep us in mind. You can save the link to your search bar, save it to your favorites. If you're going to buy off eBay, you click that link and you make your purchase, then boom, you help us. You help support the podcast, and that's it. It's as easy as that. And that's right. Half the eBay fee is like 7% of your purchase. Like 15 to 20% of your fee goes right to eBay. Isn't that crazy? Like of what you're paying for the item, upwards of 20% is just in fees, whether it be on that particular item or the seller's fees of having the store up is like 20% of their profits. So it's a way that you can still get your comics, still participate in the community, but also give back and help grow our show so we can make more content for you. Anyways, every video that we put out, the links are in those descriptions. So if you don't do it now, no worries, you can do it in the future, but they're all there for you. We have comic books for you if you want to sign up for the community. We have eBay links if you want to purchase comic books and help support us that way. We have a merch link down there if you want to help get some shirts, all of the above. And we have a green light. So, oh my goodness, guys, come on. Holy smokes. Look at the super chats. What's happening here? We have 3 super chats I got to recognize here. Okay. We have Thoro Cubaro. I like that name. My guy Tom always killing the show. Straight beast. Please tell me you've seen Shredder in Hell #1 Del Auto cover. Straight finger burning fire. Heck yeah, man. I did see that. I'm hoping I have enough time to put one on order. I may have to buy this off the secondary market, go on eBay. Maybe I'll hit up just Pele because that dude always has like 10 of them floating on his wall. Um, but you know what? Thoro Q Boro, thank you so much for the super chat, helping fund the show, helping keeping things afloat. And you know what? That is a great cover. And I'm excited about this. Excuse me, it's not a one shot. This is like a 1 through 4, I believe, of Shredder. And oh, it looks so good. Okay, keeping it going because the green light's still up, which means we have more to talk about. We have Kyle Shunrock says Bueller's rocks. Keep up, Bueller rocks. Keep up the good work, guys. And I'm on my 5th cerveza, Tom. Ooh, I gotta catch up, Kyle. I gotta catch up. Oh, you know what? This one's to Kyle. I already had a glass of wine here ready for me. So you know what? Woo. Kyle, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for the super chat. He's got me beat on the 5th cerveza, but you know what? I'm gonna catch up. And then we have Discovery Bay Comics says JB out here in Northern California, and all of us in the chat would like to give you a great job, Tom. Holy smokes, man. Thank you. Oh my God. I'm feeling the love, guys. I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling love today on this Wednesday because I got my comic peeps here. I got the community here on the live stream. We got 112 people. I think we peaked at like 120, 130. And you know what? That's great for a Sunday afternoon. Peeps spending time with their family. I hope you do the same. Spend time with your family, spend time with your friends and people you care about. It's only one life. We're here sharing this little space on spaceship Earth. And I appreciate you for giving me your time today to just entertain you, to chat comics, and to just do this little Q&A. Remember, you can always follow me at Comic Tom 101 on Instagram. I like to post comic book stuff there. I like to chat with my peeps there. Hit me up in the DMs. I'm trying to like get through my DMs as aggressively as I can. I'm super behind, but I'm only a couple days out. And I like to chat one-on-one with my peeps. I like to send video messages. I like to show off comic books, specifically in the private DMs. Please hit the like, hit that subscribe button if you are not currently subscribed, because we pump out so much content. It's crazy. We're pumping out 7-8 videos a week, and we have more coming. Like, we have a lot more coming. I mean, right now, so far we have this really, like, right now we have this cool light. I mean, this is pretty dope, right? What do you guys think about the light? I think it adds a little bit of an accent. I think it's kind of fun. You know what? We're having fun with it. We're trying to make the show a little bit more engaging, and we have more stuff coming. So hit that like button if you like what you see. It's going to motivate us to come back and do more. We have a lot of great content coming up for you guys as we wind up the year. We're going to be doing top 10 lists all throughout the end of the year. We have the CGC. Oh, what am I saying? We have the Overstreet. Ooh, so much Overstreet documentation to cover before the end of the year as we wind it up. We're going to be covering today we have a really cool video coming out. It's the top 10 Copper Age comics, which means, bronze is coming soon, silver soon to follow, and all-time comic books of all-timers coming by the end of the year. We got CBSI coming out every week. We got True First around the corner. We have Wizard. I am working on a Wizard script right now. Those are a very difficult video to put together, but you know what? I am doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it. Russ and I have been talking about doing more Wizard stuff, and we got to do it. We got to do it. Oh, Joshua Sanders kicking the green light back on before I end the video. I appreciate that. He says, need more man boobs and stuff said. Shirt, brother. Okay. We need enough said. Oh, I see. He needs a man boob size. Enough said shirt. I wonder if enough said is copyright. That's a good idea. I need enough said shirt. I need a bunch of different shirts, guys. If anyone's a graphic designer, let me know. Hit me up in the DMs. I have been struggling trying to come up with good designs. I have a couple that are in the works. I'm hoping to have a whole new shirt line merch run very soon, and I'm pretty stoked to present it to you guys. I'm pretty proud of it so far. But if there's anyone who has got good ideas, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the DMs. I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me this Sunday afternoon. I hope you guys have a great day. Pick up your comics if you haven't done that already. And follow me over at Comic Tom 101 on Instagram. Hit up Bueller. He's going to be on live this Friday. That's right. Bueller and I are going to be jumping on the mic. I'm going to be going on his podcast, on his show. We're going to be doing a show together, and we're going to be talking variants. And apparently, I'm not really sure here. I'm pretty sure the way that this is going down is he has a different opinion about variants than I do. And I'm not entirely sure what his opinion is. And I don't know if I've even really communicated my opinion to its full extent yet. So this could be an interesting podcast, an interesting show. And I think you're going to definitely want to hit the link to go and be ready for when Bueller drops that video, because we're going to be doing this. It's going to be live and it's going to be epic. And hopefully we both make it out alive. I don't know. It may get brutal. Bueller, what do you have anything to say? I know you're in the chat right now. Anything to say to the comic fam? I should probably put your link in my bio so I can make sure to send people your way, so that by the time that this video goes up, they're notified. Because guys, it's going to be a heated conversation. Like Bueller, he's going all out. Like, he's doing his research. He's telling me, Tom, it's going to be freaking crazy, man. I really disagree with you. I'm going to be putting you in your place. He was swearing at me. I'm just kidding. He wasn't doing any of those things. He's being super nice. But Bueller, anything here that you want to throw out there into the ether to tell the comic fam before we end this show today, to get them pumped, to get them so pumped for the up and coming video we're going to be doing? Oh, I don't know. Let's see if Bueller has something to say, but I'm pretty psyched. I think it's going to be a good video. I'm going to make sure Bueller's link to his channel is in the comment section below. Keep an eye out for that video. It's coming. Bueller says it's going to be live this Friday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Variants, sports balls, too many. He likes it when I call sports ball, because we have so many people in the community who enjoy watching sports balls. And I like watching sports balls. Absolutely never. So, I call it sports balls, but you know what? Sports balls is great. I used to play sports balls in high school. And you know what? If you're spending your time with me on a Sunday when you could be watching sports balls, I appreciate you. But you know what? We're going to make sure our content comes out before sports balls happen every Sunday. That way you don't have to make that tough decision. But anyways, we do have Comics with Bueller this Friday, 5:30. We do have our live show on Wednesday, as we do every Wednesday at 5 p.m. with Sir Fire Guy Ryan Sargent. I know Comic Pops really enjoyed it, so he's probably going to be on here soon. And oh my goodness, 105 peeps joining us in the chat still. I'm going to be ending this chat now. Thank you so much for joining me. We got 92 likes. Can we get that to 100 before we end? I'm just going to ask one more time to those 8 people. Hit that like button. Let's see that get up to 100. And I really do appreciate every single one of you. Look out for our new video coming out tonight. I'm going to start scripting it here in a minute. I'm going to go through the edit and release another top 10 video for you. Excited for you guys to check that out. We also have a video we pumped out yesterday. It's about Silver Surfer. It's about the Rhino. It's a minor key that you can find for $1 that you don't want to miss, because it's awesome. And you can really, really be happy if you find it. And I'll say one thing. It's worth the freaking Jack Kirby. It's worth the Jack Kirby homage. That's what it's about. It's all about that Jack Kirby painting in this issue. Did he do the Jack Kirby painting? No. But he's in the issue. Jack Kirby Avengers. Like, just guys, check it out. Hit the link to yesterday's video. Go to the bio, do all the stuff. And as always, what? The comic book community does it. All right, and this is how we're gonna do it from now on. If you want to get a shout out at the end of the videos, we're gonna do an as always, and we're gonna kick it right back to the comic fam. And you type it out. You do the ending, and if you do it, you get a shout out. So what do you guys got to do? You let me know what you have to do. That's right, Jason P. You got to geek responsibly. Comic G-Man, Joshua Sanders. We got, Con, Ernst, 1. Jesse Sweet is coming in for the Geek Responsibly. Thank you so much, Jesse. That is so nice of you. Ooh, and we have Drake Man, Geeking Responsibly. Marty Jones, Darwin Gomez. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Geek Responsibly says Wingnut, Iron the Fire, Red Matos. Ooh, Trey Nyman, Jackies, Jason Vander Walker, Boniqua. Oh, it's going so quick, but we're going to keep it going. Caleb Murphy, the BPRD, the homies, Discovery Bay Comics, Joshua Sanders says, enough said. Carrie Price, Geek Responsibly. Oh, this one, Big Will. Ooh, you're being held for review? Not anymore. He says, Geek Responsibly, Solid G only. Oh, Soldier only. And then Thoro Cubaro and Chris Mason, Michael Wynn, Kyle Shunrock, Blur Jenkins, John Moran, and then we have, of course, Comics with Bueller says he loves this community. Then we have Infamous 415, and then Roger Heller. Oh, as he says enough said. He says enough said. Oh, I'm feeling the love. Do you guys feel the love? I feel the love. We broke 100. Guys, we broke 100. We broke 100 likes. All right, very cool, guys. I do appreciate you. Guys, please geek responsibly and have a great day.